On this week's episode of the Best of Johnston County Podcast, we're doing a special edition episode that we like to call Ask Jonathan Breeden Anything. And on this episode, I, Jonathan Breeden, answer questions about digital evidence in custody and divorce cases from our social media coordinator, Raina Birch. What is digital evidence? How do you lay a foundation for it? How do you collect it? What can you do with it? Should you have your children try to gather it for you? What happens with the digital evidence once you give it to your attorney? If you wanted to know about any of these questions or exactly how it works, listen in.
Welcome to another episode of Best of Johnston County, brought to you by Breeden Law Office. Our host, Jonathan Breeden, an experienced family lawyer with a deep connection to the community, is ready to take you on a journey through the area that he has called home for over 20 years. Whether it's a deep dive into the love locals have for the county or unraveling the complexities of family law, Best of Johnston County presents an authentic slice of this unique community.
Hello, and welcome to another edition of the Best of Johnston County Podcast. I'm your host, Jonathan Breeden, and on today's episode, we have a special edition episode that we like to call Ask Jonathan Breeden Anything. And in these episodes, our social media coordinator, Raina Birch, asked me, Jonathan Breeden, common family law questions that we deal with in our office here at the Breeden Law Office every single week. In most of our episodes, for those of you that listen on a regular basis, know that this is a community-based podcast where we interview interesting people in the community, from small business owners to community leaders to nonprofits and anybody else that we find interesting doing great things here in Johnston County. But every once in a while, we do these special edition episodes that we call Ask Jonathan Breeden Anything, where we talk a little bit about family law, which is what we do here at the Breeden Law Office. But before we get to that, I'd like you to like, follow, and subscribe to this podcast wherever you see it, whether on Apple, Spotify, YouTube, TikTok, X, or any of the other social media channels of the Best Johnston County Podcast. The Best Johnston County Podcast comes out every single Monday and has now for over 2 years. So we're well over 100 episodes now. So go back and listen to some of our previous episodes. We've had the vast majority of the county commissioners. We've had now Congressman Brad Knott when he was a candidate. We've had Chris Johnson, Johnston County Economic Development Director. We've had Adrian O'Neill twice from Johnston County Parks and Rec. We've got tons and tons of great guests. If you love Johnston County as much as I do, this is the podcast for you. Welcome, Raina.
Hi. All right. So are we ready for today?
I'm ready for today. I'm glad you sort of gave me a heads up so I could think about it.
All right.
Briefly.
Briefly. So today we're going to talk about digital evidence in a custody court case, because with technology and, everything constantly evolving all the time, people want to know, what counts, what's proof, what do you have to do, how do you show it, how do you present it, all of that. So the first question is, what is digital evidence? Like, what is considered digital evidence?
I mean, digital evidence really is any evidence that isn't physical evidence, right? Like, so text, emails, videos, social media posts, anything that is created using your phone or computer or camera, really, because pictures as well, would be digital evidence. So it's not, you think of physical evidence. Back in the days, I did criminal law, fingerprints, shoe prints, blood, DNA, a lot of that in the criminal world, right? And then, of course, there's a lot of digital evidence in the criminal world, including your phone pinging near, your phone is pinging near that cell tower, which puts you in the location of when the crime happened. So unless you can prove somebody else had your phone, pretty good evidence that you're going to be there. But so anything really that would be evidence, and evidence has to be relevant, right?
Yes.
So we talk about this all the time. So, the courts are going to, in family court, they're going to accept all relevant evidence, which means it has to be gained lawfully and all that. We'll talk about a little bit of that in a few minutes, and you have to be able to lay a foundation, which is crucial,
extremely.
Particularly in digital evidence. That's always the hardest part of digital evidence, is the foundation of how did you get it? How do we know it's real? How do we know it hasn't been altered or edited in any way? That kind of stuff. But really, you're looking at it has to be relevant, which means it has to assist the trier of fact in family court, a district court judge, in making a determination on whatever subject matter that district court judge is making a decision on that day. You partying on TikTok probably is not great for custody, but is it really anything to do with child support? You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it has to be relevant.
Yeah.
So
and
so
those are two separate courts in North Carolina.
Right. Two separate courts. Child support and custody are two separate courts. Right.
Yes.
So that's why I'm saying, it has to be relevant.
Yes.
You have to be a lay a foundation. It has to be relational to what is being heard that day. And if it is, and you can lay all that, then the court will receive the evidence. Now, what weight the court gives to any evidence that it receives is beyond me. Yep. I mean, I've been doing this 25 years. I don't know what judges think. I mean, you think and then they do something completely different.
Yep.
But they're elected to do the job, and they're doing the best they can. So that's kind of what it is.
Okay, and like you said, the foundation and whatnot, screenshots are important, but you have to prove where you got it, where it came from.
Right. Well, right.
How you got it.
I mean, you start thinking about the foundation of, where did it come from?
Mm-hmm.
Has it been altered? What evidence can you bring that the person posted it?
Mm-hmm.
That's always questionable.
Yep.
People's Facebooks get hacked all the time.
Yeah.
People allow other people, particularly famous people, to post under their name and image.
That's true. They do takeovers all the time.
Right. You routinely post for me because that's your job working for me.
Yep.
I don't always see what you're going to post before it gets posted.
Yep.
So if it gets posted, are you speaking or am I speaking?
Yep.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, from the business standpoint, the business is speaking.
Yes.
But once again, I didn't post it.
Mm-hmm.
It's on my webpage, but
and that's why I have business insurance in case it's, if God forbid anything were to harm your business accidentally. Obviously, I would never do that on purpose.
Right.
But that kind of thing.
So you have to have, screenshots can be good. You have to have some evidence or proof that they're the ones who actually posted it.
Mm-hmm.
Oftentimes it would only, some of the stuff that's posted would be only stuff that they know.
Mm-hmm.
And you can look at the postings around it to sort of show, okay, well, they're clearly in charge of this.
Yes.
They've been posting this. And my experience is, if you ask people, did you post this? Most of the time, they're going to tell you the truth. They're supposed to tell you the truth.
Yeah.
But, as far as that's concerned. Same thing with text messages. We do sometimes have problems with text messages because people send text messages from other people's phones.
Pretending to be someone else.
Correct. I mean, we've definitely had girlfriends and new wives texting from husband's phone or child's father's phone, telling the child's mother what they think of them. And that's not good.
Nope. Don't do that.
Right.
Don't do that.
Don't do that. But that does happen. And then sometimes the person whose phone it is does send them. So, my advice is don't let anybody, particularly if you're headed to a divorce or you're in a custody case or any of this stuff, don't let anybody post anything underneath your name. Yep. Whatever it is, whatever is sent, it needs to be from you, by you.
Yep.
And you need to think real hard about, do you want this played out loud in a courtroom full of strangers in front of a judge before you send it? Because once it's been sent, the genie's out of the bottle.
Yep.
And you're not pulling it back. And if it's negative and it's a bad light, you can 100% guarantee that the other lawyer is going to get it, and you're going to be on a court. You're going to be on a stand in a courtroom reading it, being asked, did you send this? Why did you send it? And how is this text, message, video, whatever, in the best interest of your child? And good luck, because it is not good.
No.
And that fit of anger or rage or whatever, because something happened probably 12, 18, 24 months before this trial that caused you to, in a fit of anger, to send that text in about 20 seconds, it's going to come back to haunt you.
Yep.
And so you should not be doing that, right?
No.
Once again, this digital evidence is absolutely damning. I have won so many cases off of just the digital evidence. And the other side gave it all to me because they did it.
Yep.
Right? They sent the text. They left the voicemail. They made the messages. They sent the emails. They did all of this for me to show that they were not in it for the best interest of the child. they basically were mad that the relationship was over,
Yeah.
and they were going to tell that other person what they thought of them and their ability to parent and all of that stuff, which accomplished nothing other than cost them significant custodial time with their children because the judge didn't like them.
Yep.
But
Yeah.
I mean, that's how it goes. But don't post anything that you don't want to see in a courtroom.
Yep. And especially in the court-ordered family apps, everything you do in there, every single thing you do in there is admissible in court.
Correct. Right.
So-
Right. So if you're dealing with Our Family Wizard, which is the most popular of the parenting apps that are out there, and these are for high conflict cases where people really struggle to communicate in a positive manner. Our Family Wizard is an app, costs about $100 a year, and in that app you can send text messages, you can upload pictures, you can upload receipts if you need to be reimbursed for medical bills. There's a calendar with all of the child's doctor's appointments, doctor's names, all of that gets put in there. Nothing can be deleted. It shows when it's posted, it shows when it's read, and it even tells you if you start to send a message, if you get the part that says, it gives you a tone meter that says maybe this tone is not good, and you need to tone your tone down with the words you're using and your lack of punctuation. And so, that's been a good one. There are several other parenting apps out there. Definitely Our Family Wizard is the most popular one, at least in Wake, Johnston, and Harnett counties. And everybody has access to it, including the judge, including your attorneys, and can go look at it at any time to see what's going on. And those are deemed automatically admitted.
Yes.
So we've had it where the new girlfriend or new wife has been on OFW, giving their opinion of somebody, and it's assumed that you did it because, and it's admissible.
Yeah, they can't make their own account.
Can't make their own account.
Give them permission to make an account.
Correct.
So you're an accomplice.
Yeah. So it's really, really not a good situation, but you really have to be thinking. And if you're, you want to make sure that what you have out there, particularly if you think you're headed for a divorce or you're in the middle of a divorce or custody case, is positive information that you would want a judge to see, because if it's out there, the odds are you're going to end up seeing it.
Again and again. So how do you collect this digital evidence in the right way? Because there's many wrong ways to do it, but what's the right way to do it?
I think for Facebook, screenshots are okay. Yeah, you know what I mean? But you can also upload, there are tons of apps and websites where you can upload Facebook, there, or there's definitely text. There's definitely text apps out there where you can put your text in there and then they're going to capture it. The biggest thing with text and emails is that they not be edited. And that if you intend to introduce emails or text, you need to do the entire chain.
Yes.
There's a lot of sometimes editing of text messages and emails where one side sends an innocuous text like, how is the daughter Jessica doing today?
Yeah.
And the other parent writes back, great. And then the next email is, you really are a horrible, slutty mom. And then the person writes back, why are you saying those to me? You're kind of not a very nice guy. And then when you get into court, the part about calling the person a horrible, slutty mom is not there.
Weird.
Right. And that's why it is crucial that you not delete any of your text messages between you and the opposing party ever, because you need to be able to pull your phone out if they are showing edited text chain, which happens all the time, and be able to say, here's my version, Judge, in my phone in raw form, to where you can see which text got deleted.
Yep.
And so that's important as well. But there are apps and stuff where you can upload these texts and emails, and it will put them there and organize them. They need to be in time synchronous,
chronological
order, so it can be read. They don't need to be edited or deleted or changed in any way. Same thing with pictures. If you want to introduce a picture into a court case, you have to be able to testify that you took the picture or you were present. If you're in the picture, that you were present when the picture took place, that it fairly and accurately represents the time and what was in the picture at the time the picture was taken. that the picture has not been photoshopped and edited in any way, and that the picture would help support some testimony that you're offering, that the kids and I have fun on vacation, or these are the kids, this is my house, and this is the kids' bedrooms, and this is our living room, and this is our yard, and stuff like that. Because Photoshop's real easy. Now all of our iPhones have Photoshop technology. You can shop people into pictures. You can shop people out of pictures. AI makes pictures all the time. So this is actually getting harder for judges and attorneys rather than easier, as there's more and more stuff out there. And so it really becomes important that you have to be able to lay the foundation that the person did it. And if you didn't do it, or you've seen something that you know you didn't do or is not right, you need to be standing on your head going, I didn't make it. I didn't send it. Here's a text change. I can show you we did one the other day, Raina, where the mom had removed 15 or 20 texts out of a 100 text chain. And it completely changed the dynamic of the entire conversation that was being presented. And her attorney didn't even know it had happened.
Oh, no.
We're like, our client's like, that's not right. Pulls his phone out, and we literally go through it in court. And it's like, and it was terrible.
Yeah.
And the other attorney felt bad because she assumed she'd been given something that was correct.
Well, yeah.
But it was not correct.
Yeah, that's one thing. Always tell your attorney everything, literally everything. There's attorney-client privilege. They're not going to be mad. Well, they might be mad at you, but tell them everything, because they're only trying to help you. That's their job. Please do that.
Right. There's no doubt about it.
Have family law questions? Need guidance to navigate legal challenges? The compassionate team at Breeden Law Office is here to help. Visit us at www.breedenfirm.com for practical advice, resources, or to book a consultation. Remember, when life gets messy, you don't have to face it alone.
All right. So also, to your point, when you said there's apps, there's tools on Facebook, there's tools on TikTok, there's tools on most social media platforms that have an option to download all of your data all at once. So you don't have to go through, keep scrolling and wait for it to load and wait for it to load. They have those tools built into those platforms. Please use them to save yourself and your attorney some time.
Right. And you need to try to make sure when you're doing that, you're getting timestamps. Date and timestamps are crucial to when stuff is, because like when it's posted on Facebook, the picture might be a year old or 30 years old, right? And so that becomes very important as well, especially as you start to build a chronological timeline, particularly if you're trying to show a pattern of abuse or negative behaviors. I think that's important.
Yep. And to your point, that's what you're trying to do in any custody court case. You're not trying to show the judge all these isolated incidents unless they're really, really bad isolated incidents, but you're trying to show a pattern of behavior, because the pattern is what's going to win your case. Correct. Not the isolated incidents.
Correct. I mean, if the isolated incident is bad enough, yes, but a pattern of behavior is important. And if you can show, that the other parent is being abusive and not acting in the best interest of the child, because that's ultimately what the judge is there to decide in a custody case. And, what you want to do, particularly if you're the object of the abuse, is be able to, if the judge sees a pattern of abuse towards you, they will start to assume, or can start to deduce, that the child is going to receive a similar level of abuse from that parent, and maybe limit that parent's opportunities to parent to sort of shield that child. Yeah. And so that's important as well.
Exactly. So we kind of already touched on this with the, don't delete, don't edit, don't alter, definitely don't cherry pick your evidence. But what are some other things that people should not do with their digital evidence?
Well, one thing is, once you're in a case, you shouldn't be going back and deleting everything, right? Like, you're in a case, the evidence needs to be preserved, right? Yes. So we don't need to be trying to hide it. Like, it's probably not good that it's out there, but you definitely don't need to add to it, for sure. Yeah. What was the question?
Oh, what should you not do when it comes to digital? So we talked about, like, don't delete, don't cherry pick, whatever, but also, like, recording, because lots of people record.
Right. Well, in North Carolina, it's a one-party consent state to record a conversation.
That's important.
So you can record any conversation that you're a party to without the other side's knowledge. But you got to be a party to the action.
Yes.
So you cannot be recording the child and the other parents' interactions, because you're not a party to that conversation unless you get specific permission from the court to be able to do that in a really, really high complex case. And that is very, very rare.
Yes.
You should not be, wiring up the baby's diaper bag to where it's recording what's happening at the other parent's house, because again, you're not part of that conversation. You should not put a recording device in the other parent's car and record them, because you're not part of that conversation. I don't care if you're still married and living together, you're not supposed to be recording. And these are all things I've seen in the last 6 months for sure. These are not
happens
new.
all the time.
Happens all the time, right? So I mean,
and then you're going from family court to criminal court at that point.
Right. I mean, you got to be real careful. You cannot hack into somebody's email or phone. If you know the password to their phone, and if you know the password to their email, then you have the right to access it and see what's in there. But you do not have the right to hack in or guess the password to the phone or guess the password to the email. So that would be against the rules. A common mistake we see is the parents or everybody has a shared computer at the house.
Yes.
Kids, parents, everybody has a computer, and one parent and people save their passwords in the browser, right? It makes it easy. I do it, you do it, Raina. And then if it's saved in the browser, then you have to presume that anybody that has access to that computer can get in. And
has permission.
Right. So a lot of the evidence we get that is damning against people, comes from family computers where either the email is left open or the password is saved on the computer and the other side just goes click, click. And then that's not illegal. They gathered information of affairs or whatever that they come up with. Unfortunately, we've found other stuff that was more criminal than just extramarital affairs involving minors and stuff like that. We don't need to get into that on this podcast. I want to keep my clean rating from Apple, but I'm just saying, so that's the thing. If you do not know the password to your spouse's phone and they will not give it to you, you probably have a problem.
I would say so.
Yeah. I mean, I'm just being honest. I'm not saying legally they don't have to give it to you, but if you don't have it, you got to be asking
why,
what's being hidden from me right now. I'm just being honest. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it is what it is. And, it's unfortunate.
Agreed. Yeah. And one final thing I would say, don't involve your kids.
Absolutely. Your kids.
Please don't involve your kids.
Right. Don't have your kids trying to gather evidence. Don't have your kids make recordings. Don't have your kids taking pictures of what they're doing over there and sending it to you. Don't be asking them to be your detectives. That is not a place for children. That is bad for their development. They love both parents as much as they love each parent. And if a court finds out that you were using your kids to gather evidence, they will likely take a lot of your custody away from you. I've seen that repeatedly. So don't be doing that at all. No. It's terrible. It puts the kid in an awful position. They don't want to disappoint anybody. It's also going to ruin their trust from their natural parent to them if they get caught doing it, and they're going to get caught because they're kids, and that's just how it goes.
Even if they don't get caught, if you present that evidence in court, then you're telling the other parent.
Right. Well, then you have to have the child to come lay the foundation.
Yeah.
To say, I made this recording. I took this picture. And that's really bad. And I've had that happen. Yeah. And that's a horrible place for a child to be. And judges don't like it and attorneys don't like it.
Yeah, nobody likes that. All right. So
what I would tell people is hire a private eye.
Yes.
If you want to gather evidence, if you don't like what's going on or think there's a problem, get a private eye. There's tons of them in the Triangle. They're not nearly as expensive as you think. And they are very good at gathering evidence and documenting everything and getting evidence into place with what they're able to do.
Yeah, and I can guarantee your attorney has a list of people that they can recommend.
Absolutely.
Okay, 4, how should they organize the digital evidence?
I think each form of it, whether it be TikToks, Facebook, text messages, or emails, should be put into chronological order. They should be put on, if you want to give it to your attorney, you can upload it to your attorney's shared drive, or you can put it on a thumb drive and bring it to them. You do not want to be writing on these exhibits or, highlighting or circling or writing out to the side, Raina, Jonathan, whatever. You don't want to be doing that, right? They need to be in their form as is. Your attorney can point stuff out and go through it like that. I do think you should do that on one copy so the attorney and you can go through it and decide what's going to be evidence. But what ultimately gets used needs to be clean, unaltered, no squiggly lines, nothing writing, nothing highlighted or any of that. So it's in its natural state, even though it's probably going to be printed out on a sheet of paper when they do it. So I would definitely advise that. Do it early, right? These cases can take a long time to get to court. It can easily be, 3-4 months for a temporary custody hearing, 12, 18, 24 months for a permanent custody hearing in our counties. There's not enough judges, not enough courts. It is what it is. But you need to be putting this together as it goes, almost like a diary of stuff. Every month, take a couple of hours and put together what you think might be helpful from that month to prove whatever part of the case you're trying to prove, and keep your lawyer updated. The last thing you want to do to your attorney is show up 48, 72 hours before trial with 300 or 400 text messages, expect them to be able to go through them, organize them, and get them ready and use at trial. And unfortunately, that does happen to us. And it makes it to where a lot of stuff gets missed, and that's not good.
Yeah, think of it as your digital journal.
Correct.
Just do that if you can't do it every day, once a week or once a month, just keep it updated.
And if you have any questions about something you want to post and you wonder how it might be received, call a friend, phone a friend, call your lawyer before you put it up there, not after it. Because once it goes up, and you've seen with celebrities, somebody's going to screenshot it and they're going to have it, even if you take it down in like 10 minutes. And once it's up, it's up, right? The other thing is these kids now all have phones. I don't know if that's a good thing. We had 180 counseling, Ms. Coates on. Yeah. She wasn't a big fan of phones for kids. Yeah. Unfortunately, kids do have phones now. They also have social media. Kids are going to see it, and that's not good. So if you're on there and you're telling people that their father is a not very good person, they're going to see that. And while you didn't say it to them, once they see it, that's going to cut them, right? Like it's like stabbing them in the heart. If you're criticizing the other parent, and I don't care what that parent did, you are basically stabbing that child in the heart, because that child is both parents and loves both parents and is going to blame themselves for whatever negativity you're placing on the other child. It is completely natural for children in their development to do that, and you don't want to do it, and it's not healthy.
Got it. And so also, like you said, use Google Drive, whatnot, to help with keeping everything organized, folders, binders, tabs, all of that. Like you said, don't write on the evidence because that could be considered editing it.
Correct.
So if you're going to take a binder to court, have a court binder and then have a notes binder so that you can keep them separate.
Right. Yeah, no. And what I do is on my copy of the exhibits, I will often have the one with the notes on it, or I'll have the one with my notes on it. But the one the judge sees and the witness has to be a clean copy. And then the other opposing attorney gets. So yeah, you can have it, but if you go ahead and write on it before you bring it to me, if I make a copy, your writing's all over it. It's not going to be admissible.
Exactly.
So anyway, that'll probably have to do it for this one. You got any more questions?
I've got one more.
Okay, one more. Okay.
All right. So, and then how do you use the digital evidence in court?
Okay. Digital evidence used in court, we often will print it out. That is the most common way. We print out the Facebooks, we print out the text messages, we print out the emails, we put them in binders, and then we give them exhibit numbers, and we go through it in chronological order or whatever theory of the case we have, and we have our client or the other side read it out loud most of the time. Another thing, like, what is this going to sound like being read out loud to a courtroom, out loud to a courtroom for the strangers? We'll have them read it out loud and talk about why they wrote it, what they were trying to do.
Yep.
Now, some things, voicemails, we will put on a thumb drive and play on a laptop. Videos, we will play on a laptop. We will put on a thumb drive so the court has it, but we will also play it in court, to the judge on a laptop as well. So there's different ways to do it. Sometimes on a laptop, sometimes on a thumb drive, but oftentimes paper, because that's the easiest thing. And the court doesn't want to have to keep up a bunch of thumb drives, but it can keep up with the paper.
Yes.
So,
and the whole purpose of all of this is to show a pattern of behavior.
Right. Which is right. And you don't want to help the other side show your behavior pattern to be not one that is in the best interest of the child.
Yes.
So be thinking about it, what you do and how you say things, because it's not good. You're not scoring any points or winning any awards for telling the other side what you truly think of them. in a text or an email. And nothing gets accomplished.
Yep.
So anyway, we'd like to thank Raina for coming on and helping us with this special edition of the Best of Johnston County Podcast, Ask Jonathan Breeden Anything, where we discuss digital evidence. If you have a case or are interested in how digital evidence may affect your divorce or your custody case, give us a call here at the Breeden Law Office. So we'd be glad to help you. You can reach out to us at breedenfirm.com. Be glad to talk to you about what you have or what you don't have. Put you in touch with private detectives if you want to maybe do something like that. But remember, you are creating this, and so you are in control. This is not somebody putting something onto you. So be thinking of it that way as well. Like we mentioned earlier, please like, follow, subscribe to this podcast wherever you see it, whether it be on Apple, Spotify, YouTube, TikTok, X, or Instagram, so that you be made aware of future episodes of the Best Johnston County Podcast. Best Johnston County Podcast comes out every single Monday and has, like we said earlier, for over 2 years. So until next time, I'm your host, Jonathan Breeden.
That's the end of today's episode of Best of Johnston County, a show brought to you by the trusted team at Breeden Law Office. We thank you for joining us today, and we look forward to sharing more interesting facets of this community next week. Every story, every viewpoint adds another thread to the rich tapestry of Johnston County. If the legal aspects highlighted raise some questions, help is just around the corner at www.breedenfirm.com.